Please listen carefully.
Welcome back to the Focus Target Podcast. This is your host, Smiley, with you for episode 92 of Season 3. Today is our E3 extravaganza. Woo! With me to break down all the coverage is, of course, my two co-hosts, Van and Shy. Yes, E3 in symbols. Very nice. Keeping it West Coast. I like that. What's going on, guys?
Look on the hood, homie.
Did you guys catch much E3 this year? Or are you just here to ride the coattails of the people who did?
I'm here to learn.
I'm riding coattails.
All right.
Yeah, I caught a little bit. Not as much as past years, but
Yeah.
admittedly, the lineup hasn't been as exciting as past years either. But there's some pretty good shockers from it, so I'm sure we'll get into it.
All the
Yeah,
games of my dreams came out this year already. So what do I have to look
They're
forward
already
to,
all out.
like in the future?
That's funny.
All of
See that?
all of Ninja Gaiden.
And Mass Effect.
all the more reason to be looking to the future, because now it's like you're going to need something one day, presumably. The only ones I saw were the Square Enix stream and the Nintendo stream, and then I caught quite a bit of the Nintendo Treehouse, whatever they I never heard of that before, but where they actually play and demo the games pretty thoroughly. So I caught a couple of those in between, as I had time. So. But anyway, yeah, we'll get all the way into it, but let's get first to our question of the day here on the Focus Target Podcast. So last time, right at the end of our stream, we actually got a question from a live viewer named DarkSage9117. And unfortunately, the question came in literally right when we were closing down the show. So we didn't get a chance to answer him on the air or in the Twitch chat. But since he brought up, last time we were talking about the NHL playoffs, and the question that he had was, I assume it's he. I shouldn't assume that. I guess a question that this fine viewer had, the individual had, was who you got in the upcoming Vegas versus Montreal series and why. And we talked a lot about what happened between the Avs and the Golden Knights, but we didn't really talk about the future. And so. Really quickly, let's talk about who you want to win and who you think will win, and then also if we have time, let's throw just a quick Islanders Lightning on the other side of the bracket. Who you think there to bring people up to date? Both series have had one game played already. The New York Islanders kind of ups. I mean, they were the home team, but I would say were they? Maybe they weren't home. Maybe the Lightning were home, but. Regardless, they are not the favorite in that series, but they beat the Lightning in Game 1, so the Islanders have a 1-0 lead, and the Golden Knights, who are definitely the favorite against Montreal, held serve on their home ice and whooped them 4-1 in Game number 1. So let's start, since Van is our resident Golden Knight representative. Let's start with him. Who you got in Golden Knights Montreal, and why?
Yeah, that's kind of a silly question. Clearly, I want the Canada Canadians to win.
The Knights.
Yeah. No, Golden Knights.
The Canadians.
The Vegas Golden Knights. All the way. Relatively new Knights fan. Followed them off and on last year. Started following religiously this year. I think the big move from Raiders over to Las Vegas was kind of what sealed the deal. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now I'm a Las Vegas. And I've always loved just the city of sin anyways. But when that happened, I was like, all right, this is it. I'm going to go all in head first on the Golden Knights. And I couldn't have picked a better year to seem more like a bandwagoner than ever. So here we are. I'm going for the Golden Knights. As far as the Islanders and the White Lightning Bolts, I guess who's the lower seed out of those bad boys? Because that's who I want to win. I guess it'd be the Islanders, right? Number 3 seed.
Well, they were both threes. I do think I can't remember. I think the Islanders might have actually been higher in the overall standings. I will effort that real
Looks
fast.
like out of this recent assessment, out of all 4 teams, they have Golden Knights 1, the Canada Canadians 4, Lightning 2, and Islanders 3. So I'm going for the Islanders.
You're gonna want to be going for the Islanders. Oh, they were the 4th seed. I'm sorry, Islanders were the 4th seed in their division, and the Lightning are the defending Stanley Cup champions. They're really good. Not that the Islanders aren't good, but yeah, I would say when the Avs were still in it, the team I was most worried about was Tampa Bay, and I guess I should have been more worried about Las Vegas, as it turned out. But I've been going
Funny how
against Tampa
sports
Bay the whole
works, huh?
time. Yeah, isn't that? So yeah, fair enough. What about you, Shai?
Yeah, I think as far as Vegas Golden Knights and Montreal, I think as far as who I think will win, I think it's probably going to be the Golden Knights. As far as who I think I want, I'm always root for the underdog, and since the Canadians are considered the underdog in a series, I would say that it would be cool to see them at least give the Golden Knights a run for their money, if not win. It'd be cool to see the series go to 7. I think everybody's ragging on them on the Habs for whatever reason they're called that. And I don't know, like out of all the 4 teams, I probably have seen the teams I've seen the most games of have been the Golden Knights and the Canadians. I saw, I think, all 4 of the Canadians, Montreal, and Winnipeg games, and so that was, I don't know, it was fun watching them there. And their goalie is just he's pretty solid, Carey Price. So as far as Islanders and the what is it? The Thunderbolts? The Lightning? Lightning.
The Lightning.
I don't know.
Lightning.
I don't really care. I don't know. I feel like, this is going to be totally a shy comment, but I think the Islanders have more garish uniforms, so I don't really care that they make it.
I love it.
This is very on brand for Shai. All right. Well, for me, I'm not going for Vegas. I hold a grudge against them for what they did to my Avs. And also, I always go for the Canadian teams when I can, especially in the Stanley Cups. I feel like hockey is Canada's sport, and the fact that the last team to win a Stanley Cup for Canada was in 1993, that was the Canadians. It's been a long time, and I just feel like Canada deserves better. So I always kind of pull for the Canadian teams when all other things are equal, just because I feel like Canada deserves some love. If you want a little piece of trivia, Shai, you were wondering why they call them the Habs.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they've got that H on their jersey. And so, it's like the C for the Canadians and the H. And so the H actually stands for hockey, but it's like Canadians hockey. But I guess there was a guy, I think from like New York, I don't know if it was the Islanders or the Rangers, like way back when, thought that the H stood for habitants. And so he called them the Habs, and it just stuck, I guess. It was like a mistake. Like he was misinformed about what the H meant.
Like an announcer, like a game commentator or something?
Yeah, like the guy who was calling the game. Yeah, I have no idea who it
and
was,
it stuck that much because everybody calls them the Habs. Like it's so
everyone
weird.
calls them the Habs. Yeah, it's just, that's where it came from, I guess. So,
all right.
at least that's the story as I heard it. Maybe there's other explanations, but that's how it was told to me. Yes. On the other side, I feel like the Lightning are kind of cheating. They kind of have circumvented the Stanley Cap, the salary cap, because they had 2 guys on long-term injured reserve all year, and they were able to build, and that doesn't count against the cap. And now they're in the playoffs, and those 2 guys came back, and so like their team value is like literally like $25 million more than anybody else, which is a technicality and a loophole in the way the salary cap works. But and good on them for exploiting it, I guess. But I also think it's kind of a little bit sleazy that like they already had a stacked team. They won the Stanley Cup last year, and like now they get to add 2 like perennial all stars in frickin' Stamkos and
Kucherov.
Is it Kucherov? I always get Kucherov and Kuznetsov confused, but Kuznetsov is in Washington. Kucherov, I think, is Tampa Bay. So, but yeah, I like the Islanders. The goaltender for the Islanders, Varlamov, is the former Avalanche goalie. They had him for many years, and he did good work for us in Colorado. I was a fan of his, so I like to see him do well. So I'm going for the Islanders on that side as well. So. And yeah, so if the Islanders end up winning, I'll be probably going for, like, my order would be Montreal, Islanders, Golden Knights, Tampa Bay. So if it ends up being Tampa Bay versus the Golden Knights, I will go for the Golden Knights.
Wow. All right.
Tampa Bay doesn't deserve to win when they're stacking like that. And they won last year. Like, if somebody else.
Tampa Bay got the Super Bowl this past year. I mean, how many championships can Tampa Bay get?
Seriously, yeah. Enough with Tampa Bay. All right, Jesus. It'd be like freaking Pittsburgh getting all uppity about how many championships they win. All right. Well, I mean, if you'd like to tell us, our fair listeners, who you've got in the series, if Dark Sage 9117 wants to, drop us a line, let us know what you think. Who do you got in the series? We'd love to hear from you. We'll have our contact information out to the show. Okay. E3. let's do a little rundown. We've got a lot of games to go through. There's actually quite a bit announced. I felt like it was kind of slow for a while, but I think that Nintendo conference really bumped up the numbers for me. So let's just kind of go through. We'll talk about some ones that are coming out, and like I'd like to really just hear kind of how interested are you guys in these games that as we go through. I mean, are these titles that maybe excite you, that you're not interested in, that you need to see more before you decide? Like, what do you think about what we've got here? So let's start with, the one I was most interested in when it came out was the Square Enix conference. Obviously, as a big RPG player and Final Fantasy fan, and so one of the things that they announced there that in the moment got me very excited was they announced Final Fantasy 1 through 6 getting a pixel perfect remaster. That's what they're calling it for Steam and cell phone, Android and iOS, which is cool because the ports that they did for Final Fantasy 5 and 6, where they put them on like cell phones and Steam, they did like little remakes, and they were an affront to everybody. Like the graphics they used were so horrible. Like the characters are like these pudgy, weird, like flat, strange looking characters that like seriously look it up. Like just go to like the Steam page for Final Fantasy 5 or 6 and you'll see what I mean. Like they look horrible. Like horrible, and it's just like nobody likes it. Everybody's like, why did you do this to these beloved characters? And so the fact that they're remaking these games with like the original kind of design in mind but maybe uplifted, I think that's super cool. I'm really excited about that. But I also feel like I've bought a lot of these games multiple times. I own them in many different ways. I have the ability to play them in their original form, in remastered form, in portable form. And so, like, how much money do I really want to shell out for games I already own? Which may
support
be,
the dev.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is that, and I do want to support them giving love to some of my very favorite titles ever, like Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6. Those are 3 of my top 10 favorite games, like full stop. So I do want to support them doing something cool, but I'm hoping that they'll add more than just here's a re-release with shiny graphics. Like give me something new, give me some bonus dungeons or bonus content or something, some reason to want to play it again a little bit fresh without changing the core of what it is. That's my thought. What do you guys think of that? I mean, I know Shai, you've never played any of those, I don't think, 1 through 6. And Van, I don't know that you have either. Is that right? Neither of you guys.
No, I started at 7, so this is perfect. I'll play every single one through 6.
Really?
I mean, no, but it's available.
Maybe.
Okay. Well,
maybe.
I guess we'll see.
I don't know.
After I'm done reading Ready Player.
Nice.
God.
Did they release artwork or gameplay at all of any of these, or it's just
They didn't release anything. They
anything
released
great?
just like a screen with the titles and saying coming soon to
Nice.
Android. So like there's literally no information.
Wait,
so
coming
when
soon
we
to
have
Android?
more,
Did you say to Android, or is it?
Android, iPhone, and Steam.
All right, gotcha. All right, so at least Steam. All right, because I don't know that I'd want to play those on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
So I haven't played in the original 6. I would be very interested in how they'll look. I will say that the ones I'd be most interested would be 4 and 6. You know, the time we spent playing Record Keeper and DFFOO, I started experiencing some of those characters. Like, I think Terra. No, Terra's 5, isn't it? No,
There's 6.
Terra's 6, Celeste. Some of these characters
6.
that are from those games, and so it'd be cool to like actually play them. With me, I think they could do a good job with even a pixel look if they make it really clean HD.
I hope so. I'd like to see this as like the best possible version of these games.
It does make me a little sad that they may not get the full remaster treatment. I'm guessing that's why they're doing this. I feel like they're basically saying is we're not going to make versions of these that we're making of 7. Like 7's are kind of a remaster, like full remake, brand new.
It'll be interesting to see, though. I mean, it seems like we may get to this later, that there was also the Final Fantasy Origins release, which is maybe something similar, but seemed like something like that. Like that seemed a little bit like the Final Fantasy VII remake version of Final Fantasy 1 in a way. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of success that one has. Perhaps that would lead to more along those
I mean,
lines.
do you want to touch on that really quickly since you just brought it up?
Yeah,
Like, did you
I
look
guess
at
we
any?
could.
Did you look at any of the stuff for Final Fantasy Origins, or do you see the
I
reveal
mean,
trailer
I
they showed?
watched the video. Yeah, I watched the video. The voice acting seemed terrible to me.
Seemed
Like
really bad. Like,
it was like
was it
really
intentionally
like
cheesy
I
or
don't
not?
know. It was
Yeah, it was
incredibly
weird.
cheesy. Yes,
Yeah.
like and for such like a serious seeming setting, it felt out of place. It's not like it reminded me of like the dudes from 15 when they're just like
Yeah.
chilling in the car,
Yeah, the bros.
not like
Yeah.
like I don't know. It was kind of jarring. I wasn't that interested in like. Isn't that is Tell me what Team Ninja is that the Dark Souls?
That's Ninja Gaiden, Dead or
Oh,
Alive.
that's
Like
Ninja
they're the
Gaiden.
ones behind
Okay,
that, which is what when I see Team Ninja come up, I immediately get interested in like what they're doing.
right.
But I watched that trailer, like I watched a minute of that trailer and I stopped because for one thing, it's a Souls-like game they've said, which I'm not really that
That's
excited about
exactly what they
Souls-like.
said.
Now the other thing for me is Team Ninja already has a Souls-like game, Neo, which I think is awesome. The Neo series is really well done. So why are they even touching a new one? And it just looks like, does that look like Final Fantasy One, or was there a Final Fantasy One spin-off called Origins? Like, none of those look like the
No,
Warrior of Light, and I don't know how big of a deal he
no,
was in one, but like,
no.
I
It
mean,
was more. I mean, the point of like it was the Chaos and
yeah,
Garland
all right,
was the real tie, and it looks like they were probably at the Temple of Fiends. So
all right.
like that's like the first thing you do is you go to the Temple of Fiends and you fight Garland, who's a fallen knight, and like so that was basically straight like that would have been the same intro from Final Fantasy One, in depending which way they took it from there. But yeah, that type of game doesn't appeal to me that much. So
Does Garland
I
show
wasn't
up
as
in the
excited.
trailer, like at the end? Maybe I should
Yeah,
finish the whole
that's the
trailer.
one he was. That was what. Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah, you didn't
all right.
finish it. Yeah,
Go
they
back and watch
battle him
that.
in
All
the.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So.
got two takeaways from that trailer. One, I don't want to play it, and then two, Chaos needs to die. So
Yeah.
I got out of it.
There you go. All right. Next, do one of you guys want to take one, or just want me to go down the list?
I'll take one.
All right.
Go ahead. Ben.
No,
What do you
I'm
like?
gonna take one. I'm gonna break out here. Not necessarily an E3 announcement, but certainly a very recent announcement was the actual first time ever official reveal of the new Battlefield, which was colloquially known as Battlefield 6 and has an official title now, Battlefield 2042. So we always knew that they were going to take it back to the future. We didn't know how far in the future they were going to go, right? This isn't like super far in the future like the previous ones, but it definitely brings it back to a modern day Battlefield, which excites me as a super huge Battlefield fan. And that a lot of the previous ones, right, Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 1, and then the most recent Battlefield 5, which was called Battlefield 2, if you're not confused enough already, I'm not doing a good job, um, were World War 1 and World War 2 respectively. And so actually I guess it wasn't called Battlefield 2, but the first four was called Battlefield 1. Okay, I'm confusing myself now. Anyway, the last two were World War 1 and World War 2. So there's a lot of trench warfare, a lot of slow moving vehicles, tanks, aircraft, all that whatnot. Now they're bringing it back to modern and even 20 years in the future. So
They're
ultra modern.
basically saying they anticipate World War III in 2042. So about 20
Yeah,
years out from World War
sooner.
III. Cool.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
to know.
exactly. It's gonna be that. Yeah, I think and it's hard to pull this out from just because they have the official like cinema trailer, and then they have the actual gameplay trailer which they just released a couple days ago, and it's hard to pull exactly what's going on. But it certainly doesn't seem like countries versus countries. It seems kind of more like ideals versus ideals. So yeah, maybe it is a World War III concept as opposed to countries versus countries. But anyway, I'm super excited for the graphics. I mean, look, all things Frostbite, which is just an absolutely phenomenal engine for what kind of graphics you get out of your computer hardware. So I'm really looking forward to Battlefield 2042. Looks like there's going to be insanely large maps. They're bumping up the battle size to 128 player battles, so 64 v 64. Of course, and then they're also bringing in some environmental factors. Like one of the trailers reveals a giant twister going down the city, which is over the top, but it's Battlefield, so it's pretty exciting. One thing that people are disappointed in is that they're not joining the what's that super popular genre right now, like
Battle
Warzone, and
Royale.
yeah, they're not introducing a battle royale, nor are they introducing an even free to play multiplayer map or whatnot. But so people are disappointed in that. They're like, oh, Warzone came out and it's free to play, and you have Fortnite and it's free to play and all this stuff, and Battlefield comes out and they want you to pay $70 for their game without anything free. And I'm like, yeah, well, you get what you pay for. So I have no problem putting the money up to play this game.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see once it comes out whether you like. I think it would be worthwhile to do a little bit of a analysis, a compare. Like, do you feel that the $70 you pay for it was well spent compared to all these, free and virtual, pay as you go type,
Yeah, it was.
pay for additional content. It has been in the past, right?
It was. I can already tell you it was.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is you get a complete game. Like, that's all these people making these excuses. I mean, like, you get a complete game for $70 as opposed to a free game that's asking you to spend money every, like, 5 minutes. So,
yeah. And now, one thing that they did omit from this iteration of Battlefield is a single-player campaign. So there is no single-player campaign, which has existed in all previous Battlefields. But, everybody I know plays maybe 4% of their time at most on the single-player campaign, and the rest of it is on that multiplayer session out there in the Battlefield itself. So they just omitted it completely, and it's going to be straight multiplayer.
Battlefields tend to have a life of like years as well. So like that's $70. Yeah. Like you might be asked to buy some expansion packs, but you can keep playing the base game even without the expansions. I watched the cinematic trailer. I didn't watch the gameplay trailer. I thought it was very confusing, the cinematic trailer. It was very epic and cool, but like you said, like it's just like a lot of different things going on, and you're not really sure like who's who and what's happening. But
yeah,
I wondered about that twister. And I don't know if they talked about it at all in any of their presentations, but I wondered if maybe they're gonna like introduce like weather control aspects, maybe like whether that's a random twister or if that's like something you can almost like call in as like a side. Like I don't know if that's future tech, but
yeah. There's one thing I did want to know because it was off-putting towards one of my friends, and he was like, "Yeah, I saw the cinematic trailer, but at the end when the guy jumps out of the jet and he fires the bazooka and he, goes back in, he's like, that was dumb. That was a little much." And I'd explained to him, the only reason I want to mention this is because I want to explain to anybody else who may have saw that and thought that was over the top. It certainly was over the top, but that was an homage to a Battlefield 4, I believe it was, 7 years ago. Somebody actually did that maneuver, and it was one of the most viral videos in like Battlefield multiplayer history, where somebody jumped out of the jet, took a rocket, blew it up, ended up landing back in the jet, and you can hear him. He's just as surprised as anybody else. He's like screaming and yelling and all this stuff. And so I thought it was a nice touch that they put that in the cinematic trailer. To as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was. I was like, no, they didn't just throw this in there. But for other people like my buddy Bentendo, he was like, yeah, I didn't get it. It was a little much, and I thought it was weird. And I was like, well, there you go. And he goes, well, under that context, it makes sense, and now I get it. But so
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Real cool. Cool beans.
Are you guys gonna get it? Are you gonna play with me?
Shy?
I might. I don't know. Like in the past, let's be honest, Van, you've talked about your proficiency at first-person shooter games. You and I have played some Battlefields before together and have had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do always feel like when I play with you, I'm weighing you down. So we'll see. I'm not as good at, especially not as good at PC shooters, right? Like I really rely on the auto aim that comes with console shooters and playing on a controller. So we'll see. We'll see if I also have a different computer by that time, because I don't know that my current computer can run 2042. But
oh right.
Yeah, I probably won't be picking it up. I've never really been much for the Battlefield games, so not unless
I would love
really
to hear you rage though. Like, it would be amazing.
Really, I'd have to really not have anything else going on, and I just somehow don't think that's going to be the case.
Well, to our streamers, yeah, that's a good point. To our viewers, I will be streaming this game like endlessly. So stay tuned.
Shy, you got one you want to talk about?
I'll take a game. I mean, this is one I've talked about before. Lost Ark. I've mentioned it as a game I've been looking forward to. It's a Korean isometric MMO RPG similar to like Diablo 3, but if it was an MMO, and it's something that has been loosely known that Amazon had acquired the rights to publish it in the West, but there'd been no official announcements at all. There's been no release timelines or anything. And so as of, it was either E3 or Amazon's own Summer Games Fest, which all happened within the last week. It did get an official announcement that it's coming out in the fall. Still not an exact date. It is a free-to-play MMO with like, buy to play aspects to it. So it does have a spot on Steam now, and you can buy founders packs for it as well. And they did a technical alpha actually as well the last couple days. So there have been people playing it, the alpha client here in the West. So yeah, I'm excited about that game. I don't know that, I think Van and I especially have played enough Korean imported MMOs. And we are very familiar with how cash grabby Western publishers can be with these games. Like support them for 2 or 3 months, try to make as much money as possible, and then basically stop supporting it. Now this is Amazon, and this will be one of their first big titles they're going to support, because I know they're developing their own MMO, I think, called New World, but I don't know they've actually really released anything under their name. So it'll be interesting to see how they support this and whether how it plays out. But I think I like the idea of an isometric RPG as an MMO. Like, that's one thing I think that I don't like about I love Diablo 3, but I wish it was more expansive and more connected in the world and like more stuff to do, as opposed to just running the same things and like, grinding the same enemies. Right. So the ability to have like raids and stuff like that and run dungeons with other people just seems really cool.
Definitely a lot of potential there, I would say. And you're right. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Amazon does, because you only get one chance to make a first impression. So if this is really going to be kind of the flagship that they're going to publish under their name, like, to your point, like if they just kind of stop supporting it after a couple months, like I think you build a reputation real fast. And so hopefully they'll be cognizant of that, and it'll mean good things for this game, which I guess has been very, very popular in the East. So
yeah, it has a good reputation there. Apparently it's fun. It looks beautiful. It has a lot of stuff to do. So
yeah, I'm excited to try that one. I'll go out and say now I'm definitely planning to try that with you when it comes out. I think that looks like a lot of fun, and I do enjoy games like that. Diablo and Diablo 3, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Diablo 1.
A lot of Diablo.
I've dabbled. I played Path of Exile for a while and Torchlight, which are similar type games, to varying degrees. But what about you, Van? Because you played a little Diablo 3 with us, but you didn't really get into it that much.
I didn't, and I think that was a byproduct of a lot of things, though. But yeah, I do certainly want to play this one with you guys. So
sweet.
I'll be picking it up.
Maybe it'll be the next game that brings us all back together like the old days.
Again,
we've
already said that that's possible. I mean, we've seen it multiple times now with Valheim, and well, we need Shy now.
We just gotta get Shy out to the West Coast. I also want to say, as a little aside, you guys think it's interesting how each of us have like a different curvature to our hat? Like we've got like extremely curved, Van's got middle of the road, and then Shy's like completely flat. Like, it's just a little interesting thing.
It kind of shows the duration of our hockey interest, right? You have the veteran with the longest hockey interest. You've got the semi-newer fan who's been following like for a year and a half, and then the
in captivity where they start to fold
over. It's from all the time. It's from all the times I'm watching the Avs, and I'm like,
Van only has a little bit of that.
I did that a lot this week. Yeah, Van hasn't hardly only game one really of. Well, you guys have some time. We're getting off topic.
We had two games from you, and then the Minnesota kicked our ass a few times.
Yeah, a little bit. But until you lose a series, you don't really feel it.
Yep.
Let's talk about Mario Party Superstars. That was announced today, and boy, I didn't think I would get that excited for a Mario Party title. Like Mario Parties are kind of like, but. I actually
lately since GameCube, yes, 100%.
Right, yes, that's a great point. And like, I mean, the current one's okay. Like, it's not bad. Like, it's fun. Like, I've played a lot. My wife and I played. I've played with a ton. There's problems with it, and
I got issues with it.
One of the biggest issues, in my opinion, is the fact that you can't play online. Well, I think actually they just recently fixed that, but like for a long time, you couldn't just like go online and play. Like you basically could only play local multiplayer, which was kind of silly.
Or if you were online, you can only do like a series of random
minigames. like a very paltry minigame offering. I think they did fix that. I think they've changed that, and now you can actually play online. We might have to test it sometime, Van. We can get a party going. But so Mario Party Superstars is actually like more of like a Mario Greatest Hits, right? So it takes boards from the previous games, some of the best boards, mostly from the N64 era. It's got over 100 of the best mini games, and it kind of brings back a lot of the things I loved about the Super NES, or the not the Super NES, the N64 version, like the versus games and the duels, and like instead of every character having their own unique dice, which I think was cool, but it also made some characters just inherently more fun to play than others. Like I always end up playing characters that I wouldn't really normally pick because I feel like the dice is an advantage rather than just because I want to be that character. So
Yeah,
I can
aesthetics.
go either way on that, but like I like that they went back to the old. They're going back to the old school where everybody just has the same dice, and it's fully online. You can play with other people. You can join random games. You can play local or mixed. You can for the first time I think ever in a Mario Party game, you can actually save mid game and then resume it later. Which it's like, how did it take like 100 Mario
What a
parties to
weird
figure
concept.
that out? Like these games can be really long. Like why would you have offered that before? But like, and so I watched that on the Treehouse. They played like basically a full, like they did like half of one game and half of another to show different boards. But like I got a pretty good look, and like a lot of the games that like the mini games they brought back were really some of my favorites from the N64 ones. Like I saw a lot of ones I was like, oh, I love that one. Oh, that's so exciting. So it looks really cool. Mario Party is one of the few games that I can get Sarah to play with me. So like to me this is just like an auto buy. And I'm hoping that maybe you guys will be a little excited too, because it does sound like this is one that we could actually boot up and do Mario parties together, save our progress if it's getting too late for Shy, do a couple turns, play, come back another night. Like it looks pretty awesome. So I was not expecting that, and I was very pumped up. What do you guys think? Did I sell
Yeah,
you?
I'm getting it 100%. Like, no,
Yeah.
undoubtedly, I'm getting it. I remember playing with Sarah Mario Party at your house. I think she beat us
Yes.
both, by the way. But
She
yeah,
did beat
that
us
was
both.
fun.
Well, didn't we all play like the first time we got together at Smiley's place way back in the
Yes.
day? The three of us in Rido. Didn't we all play
Yep.
like was that?
No, not we all. The three of
Oh,
us
Rido
played,
was
and Rido
napping,
took a
right?
nap. Rido took a nap while the three of us played because he drank too hard the night before.
Man. Well, that's just what he did. I mean, you say
Yeah, I
that,
was gonna
but
say,
he
would've
just
took a nap either
took
way.
naps. So,
Right.
yeah, the problem
Yes,
with that
yeah.
is that like the game with shy rolls is gonna be like 45 minutes stop save 45. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
At least that's
Yeah.
an opinion,
Yeah.
like an option, which I
It
think
could be
is
cool. It could be cool.
So, all right. I'm gonna do another one because I've got most of these on here of mine because I was the one who watched the Nintendo stream. A couple of these I'll hit really fast. New WarioWare coming out. I have the original WarioWare for DS, I think, and I really loved that game. That game was so good, and I've flirted with buying other WarioWare games since then, and I just never have. Mostly because I just don't use my handheld consoles that much anymore. Like if it's not on Switch, like I don't bust out my DS and my Nintendo Advance and stuff like that anymore. So like that's kind of prevented me. But like I'm excited for a Switch WarioWare, and it looked really cool. It looked like they had some really cool stuff for it. So do either of you guys, have you guys ever played WarioWare? Are you interested in WarioWare at all?
Not interested.
Not interested. Not only haven't played, but not interested at all.
Well, that's why I haven't played because I've never been interested.
Okay.
I don't have a big need for like pick up and play like 3-minute games or 2-minute mini games or whatever they are. Less than that even. I don't know.
You
No,
still the same
I'm
fan?
not interested. Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Fair enough. I think
Yeah,
it's
you're
one of
alone on
those
this one.
games. It's one of those games
It
that
hurts,
like
doesn't it?
no, not really.
Like when I wanted you guys to play Battlefield with me, and both of you said no.
I didn't.
F off,
I did
even though it's
not.
one of
I
your
did not
favorite
say
games ever.
no. I said there's a probability
you kind
there.
of said no. You kind of said no.
How about this, Molly? I'm gonna do an M Night Shyamalan twist, and for the game that you owe me,
I was gonna
is
say,
gonna be Battlefield, but you have to buy it for yourself. And then, I like where this.
See,
is
I was
going.
gonna say we need to do another bet where whoever wins, the other people buy them a game and they choose. And
Oh,
and
like
and then
so
Van
it's
and I,
so it's like
Van and I
so
fake
it's like
losing.
I'm buying,
basically,
like I lost, so you're buying me Battlefield, or I have to
no,
buy
no,
Battlefield for myself.
You win, but then Van and I like lose on purpose, and then we buy you Battlefield. It makes sense.
Oh, I see. It's
Yeah.
a trick. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get WarioWare. I didn't really get it until I played it myself, so I understand that. It is weird, but it's very the at least the experience I've had has been very fun and addicting. Great airplane game for whatever reason. I always bust out WarioWare when I fly. Um, it's just one of those great
It's
games. It's
just
like
some games. Yeah, exactly.
it is. It's a game that like
Stardew
you don't.
Valley is that game for me. Like
Yeah,
all the time. It's Stardew Valley.
I get it. It's like sometimes when you just want to pass some, you need to pass some time. WarioWare is great. So, um,
I'm
let's
not
talk
penny.
about. I'll hit really quick. Are either of you guys Metroid fans at all?
No.
Not into Metroid. Okay, so this will be quick too. Metroid Dread is like the next. It's like the next game. It's like the first like actual 2D platforming Metroid. It's not a 3D Metroid game. The last game that was released like that was Metroid Fusion, which is one of my favorite handheld games of all time. Like they did such a good job with that. So I like Metroid. I saw that and I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll look forward to that. And you guys probably won't, but that's okay.
Not at all.
All right.
It's cool they're making a
Van,
2D,
I'm gonna take
2D version.
I do like that.
All right,
I
so the
guess
next
they're
one I'm
making
gonna
Metroid
take.
Prime also. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, please. It's your turn.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Next one I'm gonna take is gonna be Far Cry 6. Again, not a necessarily E3 reveal, but they did reveal some additional content. Somehow there's already a DLC available, and the game's not even out yet. Granted, the game was supposed to come out a couple months ago, but
Was it
now I think the
COVID
release
delayed?
date's been pushed back. Huh?
Was it
I think it's
COVID
pushed back
delayed?
a month only, actually. Most likely. I don't think they ever specifically said,
I see.
but
It's probably the
October
excuse they
7th
gave.
for Far Cry 6. Yeah, I'm sure.
Good one.
Just like everybody else.
I'd use it.
October is going to be a very busy month because I think Battlefield's coming in October also. But I mean, you get those holiday release titles, right? So Far Cry 6 coming out on October 7th. They've already released a DLC. That was the big reveal over at E3. And supposedly the DLC, people are still trying to piece together what exactly is happening, but you get to play against or as the previous three antagonists from Far Cry 3, 4, and 5.
Five.
Yeah. So the cool thing is they brought back their because that like them they switched through Primal for one, and so I was just trying to get the order correct. I didn't forget that 5 came after 4. Oh, right, 5. So you get to play as those antagonists or against them, and it's weird because they're bringing back the voice acting, which is awesome from the original 3. So I love when they do that. I hate when they do the opposite, when they bring back characters but it's a different actor and you're like, I don't even know who you are. Like, I've seen your face around, but I don't know who the hell you are. So they're bringing back the original actors, which is fantastic. But apparently it's going to be like a series of small events and not like a DLC campaign. I don't know. It's all really weird and psychedelic and odd. So I'm not sure how I feel about the DLC, but I'm certainly getting Far Cry 6 since Far Cry 4 is one of my favorite games ever.
Well, I was about to ask what percentage of the reason that you're getting Far Cry 6 is based on your previous Far Cry love versus that Giancarlo's, what's his name's in there?
It's
Good point.
Yeah, Giancarlo Giuseppe. Whatever his name is.
What I mean? Yeah.
Moth Gideon.
Yeah, you're right. It's Giancarlo Esposito.
Esposito. I forgot his last name. That was my bad.
That guy is so freaking awesome. Yeah, and his middle name is Giuseppe. I was right.
Giuseppe.
So even if he wasn't in it, I would have absolutely got it because of Far Cry. I love
so
4.
100% zero. It's just a bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
All right. Anything else on Far? Oh,
it's a pretty edgy. It's a pretty edgy, like narrative. It seems like it has to do with inter-country turmoil and overthrowing like somewhat of a dictatorship. So I don't know. It'd be pretty interesting to see how they go with this and how raw they want to get in this day and age. Are you guys getting it?
I will not. I got 5 and never finished it. So
I'm on the fence. It'll really depend what I'm playing. I've always been interested in the Far Cry series. You've always spoken very highly of it. It reminds me a little bit of Just Cause, which I really liked. But as you said, it's going to be a busy time for a lot of reasons. So it'll probably just depend. I think that's one that I'm much more likely to not get when it comes out. But maybe if
Yeah.
it's like discount on a Steam sale or something, like maybe I pick it up and try it when I'm looking for a game to play. It's my thought.
Dude,
So I'm not
if
against it.
there's one thing about Far Cry's, they go from $60 titles to like $20 titles in 2 months.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with quality. It's just, I don't know. They have no problem reducing
Because
the
they
cost.
announced Far Cry 7
Right, yeah, probably.
or Far Cry 6
Probably.
Primal
Or they're
2.
trying to sell DLCs, right? That they
Yeah,
already released
yeah.
without the games they've released
Yes.
too.
Yeah,
So
most likely. All right. The other one I want to talk about is Mario Golf. And I say that with a inflection because I'm not a fan of golf. Golf doesn't excite me. I wouldn't think of myself as the kind of person who would buy a golf game. And yet, that that was actually announced at the last Nintendo Direct, like I don't know, 2-3 months ago, and now they kind of have it's coming out like real soon. Like unlike most of these titles that are September, October, like Mario Golf comes out in like 2 weeks. I think it's 10 days from now, the 25th of June, and it actually looks really good. It looks like it's a lot of fun. It's got like more of a traditional golf game. It's got like you can use like Mario powers if you want to get a little funny. You've got like a speed golf, which is like a more of a hectic thing, and then you've got like this golf like adventure that like I was watching the dude play it today, or it was actually a chick playing it today on the treehouse thing, and like it's like almost like an RPG golfing. It's like you gain EXP, you level your golf stats, you fight bosses with your golf. Like she's fighting this dragon that's like shooting fireballs, and you had to like go to these little like orbs of electricity and golf them into the freaking dragon. I was like, what is this? Like it actually looked really good. So I might try it out. I might try it. Like I don't know. I talk me down here. Why am I getting a golf game?
Some Japanese intern like pitches this idea of a golf RPG to their executive, and they're like, like a practical joke. They're like, yeah, let's run with that. No, I mean, I remember they announced it. I don't know if you remember this. They announced it the same. I think it was that first E3. What do they call them again?
Nintendo Direct.
Then it was the first Nintendo Direct that they'd done since COVID, and that's when they announced this. And I think you and I watched some of it together. We watched it simultaneously, and they announced the Ninja Gaiden
it was about
collection
3
at the
months
same
ago.
time. Yeah, and so I remember I saw the stuff then. I didn't watch it this E3, but I mean, like that, especially that scramble mode looked a lot of fun. Where it's just like this is like it's not like there's no pausing. It's just like you hit your golf ball, whoever's fastest to their golf ball hits it again, and it's like whoever can move and and you're trying to
demoed that
sabotage each other and like
it was pretty cool. It was like, and it's still like hole by hole basis. So like you earn points for basically being the fastest plus the fewest strokes.
Nice.
So like you're like, but even if you have like a really bad hole, it's not like, oh, I'm so far behind now I'll never catch up. Like it just like doesn't position you quite as well. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it looked fun. It looked cool.
Yeah.
Fan? What do you think about Mario
I like golf games, so I would certainly get it. Yeah.
So you're one of those type.
Yeah, I used to do business to business sales, so yeah, I made many a deal on the golf course.
Right.
In real life.
But does like for that reason though, does Mario Golf, is that something that appeals to you, or would you be more of a like is that not realistic enough? Like are you more of a Tiger Woods or whatever PGA?
No, sir, I'm actually more of a Mario Golf than the actual Tiger Woods golf. If you want to go play real golf, just go to the range. If you want to play, sit around and mess around and do scrambles and fight Bowser on a golf course, like I'll fire this bad boy up.
All right. And then I think the other game that was announced that I feel like is really important for us to go over is probably Breath of the Wild 2. Since Breath of the Wild 1 was a pretty ridiculously good game. They did show a little bit of that. They didn't show us too much about Breath of the Wild 2, but they did give us some screenshots. It's in development. They announced that it'll be 2022 when that comes out. And like there's a lot of, I don't know. I don't know what I thought about it. I feel like Breath of the Wild 1 really captured the spirit of like, I felt like I was playing Link to the Past. Like, even though I wasn't, if that makes sense. Like there's like an intangible quality to it that made it really, really awesome. I just wonder if the sequel can live up to that. I just wonder if it's going to be as good. It reminds me a little bit of when they had Ocarina of Time for N64, which was very much beloved, and then the sequel to that was Majora's Mask, which was a lot different, and just didn't quite capture what people loved about Ocarina of Time. And so I don't know. I'm tentatively interested in. I'll obviously be following it. Van, you had said you had gotten back into Breath of the Wild a little bit recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I
Well,
had. My eldest daughter, for some reason, likes watching me play that game. Well, I guess not for some reason. I
beautiful
mean,
game.
the
Yeah.
graphically, yeah, it's a very child-friendly game. So yeah, she likes watching me play. So she always wants to play Link. She goes, "Can we play Link? Can we play Link?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's play." So I get on a little bit, but I'm not giving it like a really solid long effort. So who knows how long until she gets bored with it, because she's already asking for me to play. Oh, I fired up Horizon Zero Dawn, so now she wants to play Hawaiian, and I'm like, okay, we can play that. So I hear they're bringing Navi back for Breath of the Wild too.
Hey, listen.
Listen, hey.
Oh, are you sure about? Is that true?
No, that's not true.
Okay, I was
That's not true at all.
be an interesting way to go.
Is this the Zelda version of the girl in Black Desert Online at the harbor?
Yeah, exactly. That neither of you remember for some reason.
I remember. What are you
I
talking
remember
about?
it now. I didn't for a long time, but now I do. I guess I blocked parts of that game out of my memory. Shai, you have a Switch now. Do you have any interest in Breath of the Wild, the original? Like, are you not? Is that just not a game that?
It's the whole
appeals to
open
you?
world. It's the open world. It's my history of open world games. I've tried. I've tried.
I understand that.
Horizon. I've tried not Horizon. I've tried Breath of the Wild before, and it's a cool game. And it's
Oh, you have?
beautiful, and it's a lot of fun. But like, I think I got 6 hours in, and it was like, it's just task overload or direction overload. I don't know. I like
I completely
linear
understand
games.
that.
It just work. They work better
Yeah.
for me. So
Are you gonna revisit Horizon?
nope. Same reason. Far Cry. Nope.
Dude, I'm playing it
it's
again,
just-
and
no.
I'm liking it just as much as I did the first time I played around.
Yeah.
So I was originally gonna start from the beginning just to get the feels, and then I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna keep this campaign going. Let's keep rocking.
It's the way to do it.
I'll probably never finish it.
A beautiful game. A lot. I really liked it. I liked Aloy. Well, yeah, I liked
Yeah,
that
Aloy.
story. How far I got, but
All right, Shai, I think you're up. You got anything else you want to talk about?
not really. I mean, I really didn't tune in to. I didn't really tune in at all. I mean, I saw. I had a chance to look at your list before we started, and I actually tried to check out a couple games, just like what I could today after I got off work. I mean, I guess the one thing I could talk about is you put Halo Infinite in here, and I didn't know if that was a nod to me because
I didn't put that
I
in
guess
there.
Van did
I
maybe
put it
because
in
it's the
there.
first-person shooter. I mean, you guys know I'm a Halo fan. I don't know if that was something you're excited
Yes,
about or
it
if
was.
that's
It was a
yeah.
hat tip to you
So-
that I wanted to talk about a little
So I
bit.
watched the cinematic trailer. I was not impressed.
What?
I don't know. I feel like Halo has passed me by. I have great memories of 1 through 3. I never really got a chance to put a lot of time into 4 or beyond. And like 1 through 3 are just, I have very fond memories. One day I'll pick up the Master Chief Collection, play through those, and I'll have a grand old time. But I guess I'm an old school, crusty old man Halo player, and I'm like, these brand new Halo games.
But did you
whatever.
see they announced a free to play multiplayer?
You know,
when
I
it
don't
launches?
see. I'm in your camp. I'd much rather, like I said, if I have an upgraded PC this fall or next year sometime, I'd much rather buy like Battlefield 2042 and play with you. Like you guys know this from me. I have no problem with like a pay gate in games. I think a lot of times it's better. I think
Right.
it shows it's better to you know.
Yeah.
I think the companies put more time into it. They're more dedicated to support it. I'm very wary of free to play games normally. So
Yeah. Well, I watched the gameplay trailer for their multiplayer,
all right.
and it reminded me a lot of Destiny. And I was like, ooh, this is not the Halo I remember. This is a very much different Halo, which is kind of what you were saying, I guess.
I mean, Bungie
but
created the first Halos right before they left and then made Destiny.
Yeah.
So it would make sense.
yeah, good point. I hadn't made that connection. Yeah.
Van, you want to discuss anything else?
Yeah, I'll take a couple away.
Go ahead.
So have you guys seen the Avatar trailer?
I watched
They made
that
an
before.
Avatar
I
game,
watched
which is
that as well.
interesting that like Avatar came out 10 years ago, but they are making an Avatar 2, by the way.
Aren't
I
they
don't know if you guys
making
know
like
this.
multiples? Don't they slated to make like
Oh,
2,
yeah, there's
3,
a
4,
contract
and
for, like,
5 or
of them
something?
some
Or...
ridiculous. Yeah.
Gosh, it's like the Matrix, where the first one came out and then like way later they do 2 and 3.
Well,
Then
what about
way,
Independence
way
Day?
later
What about
they do
Independence
4.
Day? Like, I mean, like think
Yeah,
of that. 20
yeah.
years. I mean,
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, they're coming out with a 2, 3, 4, I think, all the way up through 6 or something like that. Anyway, they released an Avatar. They released some gameplay trailer for Avatar. Or not gameplay, a cinematic trailer. It's weird because it literally just looks like the Avatar movie. So it's like, what are you
Makes
doing?
sense.
Are you just
It was-
replaying the first movie? Because if so, I kind of know how this ends and I know what the whole point is, but I don't know. So I'm hoping there's more to it. It looks beautiful, but Avatar looks beautiful. But I'm hoping there's more to it than just, hey, the story is the original movie.
Yeah, what bothered me the most about the cinematic trailer is you have no context as far as is it going to be a narrative? Is it going to be single player
Nothing.
only and no multiplayer?
Yeah.
Was what we were watching was that supposed to emulate a multiplayer game where you have these two people, fighting these 8 people and you know what I mean? Like they just don't tell you anything, and it doesn't do anything to sell the game at all.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to mention, since we're talking about space and flying and weird stuff, alien stuff, is a game called Starfield, which is something that's on my radar pretty good. It's an RPG by Bethesda. It's actually their first original RPG in the last 25 years. So they're starting a new one. People are what did they say it was akin to? I can't remember. They mentioned some RPG. Oh, Skyrim. They said it's essentially akin to Skyrim but in space, and they have a cinematic trailer, and it looks pretty interesting. It's almost like what is kind of the cliche of movies right now with regard to space, where it's your last stand, right? So either you're the last human and you need to adventure off and explore the planets to continue the life, or something, I don't know. But either way, there's some dire consequence where all of humanity is going to end apparently, and it's up to you to find out how to continue with our species or something. I may be bastardizing the cinematic trailer, but shame on them for not releasing a better one if I don't understand it by that. It looks cool, and it's an RPG and it's Bethesda, so high hopes for that one. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that.
If you're on the Starfield team and we don't understand the game at all, feel free to send us a comment at the end when we give our contact information.
There you go. I wanted to just comment about so when I watched the Square Enix stream, right, it's a 40-minute stream. They devoted like the first 25 or so of that stream to Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought was a little bit strange. I was like, people in the comments were going crazy. They're like, how long is this gonna last? Like, do you have no other IPs to show today? like I was it's not what I usually think of, but I guess they were really going for the Marvel tie-in. And I mean, obviously I got my Cap shirt on today since, my wife and I are watching through Endgame. I got to represent Team Cap. But, I just thought that was funny that they spent so much time on it. And I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's a great movie, and I'm a fan. But I thought it was weird. Like, the game seemed weird, and I don't know that I'd even be that interested in it, even as a fan.
I mean, it sounds like they didn't have many IPs to announce, right? I mean, it sounds like the 126 pixel remasters, the Origins game, Guardians of the Galaxy. That must be their new IP.
They did a lot more on Life is Strange.
Oh, all right.
New Life is Strange game. They spent like another 10 minutes on that. Yeah, that was like Final Fantasy didn't get much airtime, which is I think what a lot of people think of with Square Enix, even though obviously they do own a lot of other properties now. So I thought it was worth throwing out that if you missed the Square Enix stream, you just missed the Guardians of the Galaxy demo, because that's what it was. Like, yeah. And the other one I wanted to point out was, I guess there's a Monster Hunter Stories coming out, which I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Monster Hunter series. I've famously, Shy and I tried a demo one time, and we both thought it was boring as hell, and couldn't get into it. Even like playing together, like as a team, like it was just didn't do it.
Well, it was clunky. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was boring. It was clunky.
See,
Which one did you try?
It was
World. It was World when they had a demo.
Oh, both you tried World?
Yeah, and the premise is so cool. Like, you're kind of working together to hunt down a monster, but like when we got into combat, there was no way to tell how the monster was doing, like health wise, and then we were just like, it didn't feel smooth.
And you could
Z has like 600 hours in World.
Really? I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Z has like 600 hours in like every game, and I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how he actually does that, but
it's a good point.
He's definitely got the time stone or something. He's rewinding time to play video games. But the reason I wanted to mention is that it will have a demo. They said there's a demo coming out actually soonish, and the demo you can like carry over your progress to the actual game. So I feel like I might give it a chance, because that one's actually a turn-based combat version, and so it looks a little bit different. And so I was like, maybe I'll give it a shot. And so that's why I figured I'd throw that out there, just to let you guys know, because I know you already know my opinion on Monster Hunter. You wouldn't expect me to maybe be getting that, but I figure
I
I'll
was
try the
way
demo.
off. 430 hours.
430 hours. That's okay. Maybe we'll have to bring Z on and see if he can White Knight Monster Hunter World for us. Tell us why we're so wrong.
Rona has 660.
Wonder if they played together.
See, you guys missed the mark, man. Clearly,
So,
it's a good game. I mean, that's two
listen.
people we trust with video games.
No,
That's one
I
person
don't.
we trust.
I do not. I don't trust Z at all. Like I say, he'll play
That's a good
anything for
point.
600 hours. That dude plays freaking some of the games I see that guy play.
Hello
no
Kitty
way.
Fashion Adventure for like
There
10
you have
hours.
it. That's not a joke.
Or with your dad simulator. And
That's
then the other
also
guy
not
like
a joke.
raves about Goat Simulator for
Yeah.
40
Goat
hours.
Simulator.
So yeah, you're right.
Goat Simulator. Yeah.
know,
No.
Talking about playtime.
You guys are people I trust in your opinions of games. Those guys, not so much.
I did see Rona
no,
got
no.
into the technical alpha for Lost Ark. I saw him playing that a little bit on Steam this weekend.
That's
So,
cool.
or
That,
Discord.
he might be somebody to pick their brain on what he thinks of it.
Be curious to know what he thought of that.
Real quick, I just want to hit a couple omissions. I was really disappointed that they didn't even no word about the Super Nintendo Switch.
Not even
That's
a
not-
teaser,
and,
not a
like,
screenshot.
To me, that means it's a long way out. Like if it was coming out this year, they would have at least
No way.
said something.
You,
That means
that's-
next E3 it's going to be a year out likely.
do you think, and I don't know, this is complete speculation, but just seeing how bad the shortages have been with PS5, whether it's production shortages, whether it's scalping, whatever, do you think that like they are waiting to see how to release it when they know they could have a better distribution workflow, so it wouldn't be as much of like a disaster as PS5?
That would be very responsible and un-Nintendo like of them. But yeah, if maybe.
All right.
Yeah, that'd
White
be
knighting,
awesome.
white knighting
I hope
Nintendo.
I think that's
Maybe
one
if they
part. I
learn
think the other part is that the Switch is still going super strong.
Oh.
There's still a lot of life left on it. I mean, remember they were just sold out 6 months ago. Granted, there was special circumstances, but I mean, if I'm in that board meeting, I'm saying, hey, we don't need to release this next one yet. Let's keep going with this because it's still a hot item,
Right.
and it's not like it's showing its age. It's looking good.
And you don't. That is one thing is you don't want to go too far out with that because you don't want people to stop buying your Switch and your Switch games now to be like, oh, Super Nintendo's coming out in a year and a half. I'm not going to buy a Switch after all. I'm going to wait. Like, you don't want to cut your own sales off. And so hopefully that's what it is. Hopefully when they announce it, it'll be sooner. But I was kind of sad. And the other thing, Final Fantasy 16, like they gave like a little, like they gave it like a 5-second, hey, this is also in development. And you're like, okay, cool. Like nothing, which I think that was one that people were kind of hoping there would be something more about. What else? Was there other things you guys saw that you felt was a big leave out?
Not a leave up, but I do want to mention, otherwise I'd be remiss, is that there was an interview with Kojima recently. I can't remember whether it was at E3 or Gamer Fest, but he was extremely vague on details, like Kojima always is. But he did say he's working on a new title, a brand new title, and that he feels like his other titles haven't pushed the boundaries as much as he'd like to, so he's going even further. He doesn't want to get stale in his thought.
He sounds like one of those
production.
like girls who's like 80 pounds, being like, "Oh, I ate too much today. I'm gonna put on so much weight." And you're just like, "What? Like, come on, man."
So, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's working on. I think
you got to be curious to see what he thinks is pushing the boundaries, if it's not what he's already put out.
Yep.
Shy, anything from you?
I mean, not really. I mean, like I said, I didn't watch. The one thing I would ask is, did you in the Square Enix one, did they mention the new expansion for 14 at all? Because I know there's a lot of hype around that.
They did.
Right.
They did. Again, it was kind of like 16. It was like there was like a 5-second splash that said,
"Gotcha."
Whatever it's called, Dragon. Something I don't remember.
It's like Endwalker or I forget.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
they did say
it was. They said it was.
No, and I won't. I probably won't pick it up again. But still, I mean, I respect that game, Matt. I think that's got one of the best. It
has like over 22 million players.
I mean, Yoshi P's knocked it out of the park.
Out of control.
Yeah, I think it's a great platform. Yeah.
What he did with that? Remember the original release?
Lord. Yeah, I played the original release.
I played a little bit of it.
Yeah. I think the last thing I want to mention is that, of course, no mention of Grand Theft Auto 6. No surprise there, but they are releasing Grand Theft Auto 5 on its third generation of consoles.
I was gonna say, like, what do you think? Do you think that they're just trying to have like a pissing contest with Bethesda to be like,
Skyrim.
we can release a game even more than Skyrim? And they're like, well, now hold on, we're gonna put Skyrim on the Game & Watch system next. Like these two, like, yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, ludicrous.
Ludicrous speed. All right. Well, if you have something you feel was criminally underrated, or if you would like to comment on any of the games we talked about today, or any of the other parts of the E3 festivities or GamerFest festivities that we neglected to mention, drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. We'll read your stuff on the air if we find it to be compelling. We can be found on Twitter at Focus Target. We can be found on YouTube. Focus Target Podcast is our page. Email focustargetpodcast@gmail.com. Best way to get a hold of us is by Gmail, so hit us up. And of course, we are streaming live right now on twitch.tv/Focus Target Podcast, and you can find there and on YouTube many of our previous streams, our previous episodes, all that good stuff. I'm hoping to get back into streaming a little bit now that the Avalanche season is done. It's hard to stream when like every other night you've got a 3-hour hockey game to watch. But you know, the NHL season's starting to roll down a little bit, so I've been thinking about some Smiley's retro gaming corner that I want to pick back up. I've got some games I want to play, so look forward to that. If there's a game you want me to play on the stream, I'll see what I can do. If you want to hit me up. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap this one up? All right. Well, thanks for joining us for season 3, episode 92. This is the Focus Target Podcast, and I am your host, Smiley.
This is Shy.
And I'm Ben. As always, cover us, Porkins. We're out.